What's up, fantasy managers? Welcome back to another episode of the First Pitch podcast brought to you by PitcherList.com. My name is Jake Crumpler, and I'll be your host for this edition of the pod. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake Crumpler, and you can find all of my work at CrumplerBaseball.com. Let's dive into everything baseball related from Sunday, August 10th. We'll start it off, as always, with the transactions, injuries, news, and notes from around the league. Kicking things off with the bad news, as outfielder Matt Vierling was placed on the 10-day IL with an oblique strain. AJ Hinch suggested that the injury to Vierling's oblique is considered mild, so don't expect him to be out for a long time. Obliques can be tricky. I originally thought Vierling would be a candidate to be out for the rest of the year, but it sounds like he could be back within the minimum time, probably more like 2 to 3 weeks. Wenceel Perez is expected to shift from right field to center field to replace Vierling in the outfield for the Tigers, and Zach McKinstry will see everyday playing time at third base. He was being platooned before this, which will allow Colt Keith to shift from the hot corner to DH, moving Kerry Carpenter to right field. We had no notable transactions, so we'll move right into our news, beginning with starting pitcher Christian Javier, who is expected to be activated from the 60-day IL today to make his return from Tommy John surgery in his season debut versus the Boston Red Sox. That'll been a long time coming for Javier. He hasn't looked incredible in his rehab starts. Not a lot of control. That's pretty expected for somebody returning from Tommy John surgery. Would not be starting him in fantasy, but definitely somebody that's worth your attention. Might as well go grab him. Next, we have starting pitcher Chase Dollander, who's expected to be recalled from the minors to start in St. Louis. He was optioned to the minors right before the All-Star break. Since then, he's made 3 starts at AAA, producing an 8.74 ERA across those 3 starts. Not somebody that I would be targeting in fantasy. Next, we have catcher Miguel Amaya, who's expected to be activated from the 60-day IL after missing more than 2 months with an oblique strain. Amaya will be the backup to catcher Carson Kelly for the Chicago Cubs, which means bye-bye to current backup Reese McGuire. And lastly, starting pitcher Hunter Green is expected to be activated from the 15-day IL on Wednesday to start versus the Phillies. Green has been out for a while with a groin strain. Definitely somebody to activate in all of your leagues if you roster him. Now we can take a look at our notable performances from Sunday, a day in which we had a full slate of 15 games. We'll start it off with our hitters, leading off with catcher William Contreras, who helped the Brewers to win against the Mets, going 3 for 4 with 2 runs, 2 home runs, and 3 runs batted in. He's up to 12 homers now. First one traveled 374 feet at 96 miles per hour, and the second one went 357 feet at 99 miles per hour. After establishing himself as the top catcher in baseball with back-to-back 5 WAR campaigns, 2025 has been underwhelming for Contreras as he entered the weekend with the lowest WRC plus of his career since his rookie campaign. And even worse is that his StatCast metrics reflect a completely different hitter for a guy who sported an 11% barrel rate in the first 4 seasons of his career. His 6% mark this year is concerning, to say the least. It seems as though Contreras has been too passive without being selective, meaning he's taking a lot of pitches in the zones for strikes while swinging at pitches out of the zone more often. It's not a great combination. It's definitely benefited his contact metrics, but his power has been diminished. That is until Contreras hammered 3 homers over the weekend to continue an impressive second half surge that has him sporting a WRC plus north of 130 in the second half, as well as improved batted ball metrics. You may have lost your window to buy low on Contreras if your trade deadline has not passed in your fantasy league, but Contreras is proving that the last few years weren't a mirage, as he's making up for lost time here in the second half. And lastly, we have Luis Rengifo, who helped the Angels to win in Detroit, going 2 for 4 with 2 runs, a home run, and 2 runs batted in. It was his 7th homer of the year, and it traveled 408 feet at 106 miles per hour. And in similar fashion to Contreras, Rengifo was incredible over the past 3 years, but has fallen off a cliff this year. The ground balls that sapped his power last year have returned in even more abundance this year, but Rengifo's made up for it by making the most of the balls he does put into the air. Luckily, the parallels with Contreras don't stop there, as Rengifo has also turned it up a notch in the second half and homered multiple times over the weekend. StatCast suggests this is warranted after an unlucky first half for Rengifo, and I'd be rostering him in 15-team leagues everywhere as he progresses positively. The upcoming free agent will need it as he prepares for his first payday. But if you'd like a breakdown of other notable hitting performances from Sunday, check out the Daily Batters Box article over on pitcherlist.com. Now we'll head to the mound and check out some notable starting pitching performances, opening with Ryan Bergert, who did all he could, but the Royals lost in Minnesota. He tossed 5 2/3 innings, allowing 4 hits and 2 earned runs while walking 1 and punching out 8. He induced 11 whiffs with 37% CSW across 89 pitches, and in his second start as a Royal, Bergert had what I would consider to be the best start of his career thus far. Acquired from the Padres in the Freddie Fermin deal at the deadline, Bergert has maintained his prospect status while pitching to a 2.87 ERA in 13 appearances, including a 3.14 ERA in 7 starts. He handled the Twins with ease on Sunday, filling up the zone with low 90s heaters that played above their means thanks to great IVB at 18 inches and locations up in the zone, returning 74% strikes and 37% CSW. Bergert paired his fastball with a slider for 3 whiffs and 33% CSW, as well as a standout sweeper that caught batters off guard all day, landing in the zone for 10 called strikes and 52% CSW. The Royals have had Bergert lean into that sweeper since he's arrived in Kansas City, and that may be the key to unlocking a new level for the righty. A changeup that he spotted well for a trio of whiffs was icing on the cake on Sunday. And I'm finally intrigued by Bergert after not being impressed by his time in San Diego, but I still need to see more before trusting him in standard leagues. He'll get the Tigers up next if he stays in the rotation. I don't think I'm going to be jumping at that one, but if I'm desperate, I have now seen that Bergert can have success on a given night. And then lastly, we've got Mackenzie Gore, who helped the Nationals to win in San Francisco, tossing 6 shutout innings, allowing 3 hits and 1 walk while striking out 10, inducing 21 whiffs with 39% CSW across 96 pitches. And Gore came to California and took down the Giants, earning the Golden Goal in the process, as he did earn the Gallows Pole thanks to leading baseball with 21 whiffs, as well as the King Cole by leading baseball with 39% CSW on Sunday, posting his 3rd double-digit strikeout game of the season in the process. Gore's fastball was the base for his arsenal, as it found a lot of success, returning 12 called strikes and inducing 7 whiffs for 46% CSW. Gore didn't need much help from his other pitches due to the success of his fastball, but his curveball and slider still chipped in for 9 whiffs and 33% CSW. He did a great job of keeping sliders away from left-handed hitters while shooting for the back foot with curves against righties. Gore also had great command of his changeup arm side, rounding things out with a trio of whiffs. And Gore has been pretty dope all year long. And while I wouldn't consider it to be the Cy Young caliber breakout we thought he'd have, it's a huge leap in the right direction. Gore is an auto start against almost any opponent this year, meaning we're sending him out there with the Phillies up next. But if you'd like a breakdown of every single start from Sunday, give the Plus Pitch podcast a listen and check out Nick's daily SP roundup over on pitcherlist.com. Now we'll head to the bullpen and check out the relievers that got saves and the closers that pitched outside of save situations or blew their saves. Starting with the former, Grant Taylor recorded his 4th save with a perfect 9th. Yohan Duran recorded his 20th save with a scoreless 9th. Matt Brash pitched a perfect 9th for his 3rd save. Andres Munoz had pitched in 3 of the past 4 days, so he was taking the day off. Mason Fluharty got the final 2 outs of the game, working out of a bases-loaded jam that Jeff Hoffman created by walking 3 batters. Pretty impressive from Fluharty. He is a rookie this year, first career save as well, and he got the 2 outs against 2 former MVPs, Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts. So pretty impressive there from Fluharty. And lastly, Jojo Romero pitched a scoreless 4-out save, his 3rd of the year. And in terms of closers to pitch outside of save situations or below their saves, Justin Topa pitched a scoreless 9th in a tie game that the Twins would win in 11 innings. Carlos Estevez served up a walk-off 2-run homer in the 11th to take his 4th loss. Keegan Aiken surrendered 2 runs in the 9th to blow his 4th save and take his 2nd loss. Calvin Fauché pitched a perfect 9th up by 6. The Marlins are off today, so I think they were just taking the opportunity to throw out one of their best relievers to secure a dub. Edwin Diaz served up a walk-off homer in the ninth to take his second loss. Phil Maton pitched the ninth down by 1 and allowed a run. And lastly, Alex Vesia surrendered a go-ahead homer in the ninth to take his second loss. But if you'd like more information on relief pitchers, check out Rick Graham's weekly articles over on PitcherList.com. And before we look forward to today's games, we're going to take a quick break. Now we'll look forward to Monday, August 11th, the day in which we'll have a short slate of 11 games. My matchup of the day is Garrett Crochet versus Christian Javier. I'm excited to see what Javier does in his return from Tommy John surgery. He's a guy that was exciting multiple years ago and was somebody that we had coined as a possible AL Cy Young dark horse in like 2023. That never really panned out, but he's definitely somebody with great stuff. I'm excited to see what his stuff looks like in his return from that incredibly invasive Tommy John surgery. And he'll be squaring off against one of the best pitchers in baseball in the running for the AL Cy Young Award. That's Garrett Crochet. Should be a fun matchup to watch. In terms of probable starters, we've got 6 guys in the auto starts tier, including Crochet. We've also got Yoshinobu Yamamoto against the Angels in Anaheim. We've also got Nathan Eovaldi versus the Diamondbacks and Freddie Peralta versus the Pirates. Our probably starts tier has 5 guys, and that's where we'll find our streamer of the day in Chris Paddack, who's taking on the White Sox in Chicago. Paddack has been very underrated this year, pretty solid. Now he's pitching for a much better team and taking on the lowly White Sox. That should be a pretty easy stream there. I'd also keep an eye out for Cade Cavalli in Kansas City. Cavalli looked incredible in his return to the majors after having not pitched in the majors for 3 seasons. And I'm excited to see what he does again here. And the Royals lineup doesn't really scare me. And Cavalli, like I said, looked pretty dope last time out. It's not the safest of streams, definitely a questionable start, but one with a high ceiling. In terms of hitter suggestions, I'd look at Tigers hitters probably is what I meant, versus the White Sox, who are deploying a bullpen game. Their bullpen has actually been pretty successful this year, but I think it's been pretty lucky as well, as they sport the 3rd worst xFIP by relievers in baseball. So Tigers hitters versus a White Sox in a bullpen game. I'd also target Red Sox hitters versus Christian Javier in his return from Tommy John. So as much as I am excited to see Javier return, I wouldn't start that in fantasy, and I don't expect him to have a lot of success. Not only was he not great in his rehab starts, but usually people aren't great in the return from Tommy John surgery. It's going to take him a while to get back into the swing of things. I think the Red Sox should be able to pounce on him in his return. I also target Rays and A's hitters in Sutter Health Park. Great hitters ballpark there. We'll see Ryan Pepio square off against Jeffrey Springs. And lastly, I'll target Phillies and Reds hitters in Great American Ballpark. Same situation there. Another great hitters ballpark to target some hitters on the Phillies and Reds. We'll see Taijuan Walker square off against Andrew Abbott in that one. And now we'll close things out with our relievers to watch. Carlos Estevez has pitched on back-to-back days, but so has Lucas Erceg. So expect Hunter Harvey to possibly get a save opportunity if one arises for the Royals. Justin Topa has pitched on back-to-back days, but so I would expect Cole Sands to probably take over for Topa if a save arises. But if that's not the case, then Erasmo Ramirez maybe could get an opportunity as well. And lastly, Yohan Duran has pitched on back-to-back days, so expect Ryan Kirkring to be the top option there. But we could see somebody like David Robertson or Jordan Romano fill in as well. But that'll do it for today's episode of the First Pitch Podcast. Make sure to head on over to PitcherList.com to check out all of the great articles and features we have on the site. Sign up for PL Plus or PL Pro to gain access to the Discord and to support the Pitcher List staff. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake Crumpler. Tune in live on YouTube tomorrow and every day for a new installment of the podcast. And make sure to enjoy the day as we are blessed with another day of baseball.